Justin Trudeau is now lining up to have a trade war. Yeah, he doesn't want to secure the northern border, and he'd rather actually get this 25% tariff put in place by Trump, which is about to happen any day now, and then want to send a stimulus check to Canadians to combat the 25% tariff. We're going to talk about Trudeau's craziness in a moment. But we are just days away from the Trump tariffs against Canada. Close your border, fix your mess, or we are placing these tariffs on Canada. So just days away from that. And it looks like the Trudeau government and whoever succeeds Trudeau on the Liberal side is pushing now for a trade war with Donald Trump. Is that their last-ditch effort to try to save face? What's going on in Canada right now? It's a pretty desperate situation. Let's bring in David KRAYDEN, independent journalist who also writes at the Post Millennial, has his great YouTube channel, KRAYDEN'S Right, who's watching all of this in real time. David, you guys are just days away from craziness there with these tariffs. What is Trudeau trying to do now?
There's absolutely no reason for this tariff. It's a 25% tariff on all goods and services. No reason for this to happen. Trudeau was told in December, and when he went down to visit Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, when he crashed his Thanksgiving dinner, he was told, fix your border security. That's all I'm asking. Do something about border security. Trudeau's refused to do that. He's released a plan in December as part of the fall economic statement that said, okay, we're going to spend $1.3 billion on border security. Hey, sounds good. Sounds like he's actually addressing the problem. The point is, though, if you look at the fine print, and I think we have a slide to demonstrate that, it's over 6 years. This is a 6-year plan. Trudeau's spending more money on his gun grab in the next fiscal year than he is on border security. He's never been serious about fixing the border. But I tell you what he's been serious about, and this is a dawning realization. I've been saying this now for 2 months. Trudeau wants the trade war. He wants to fight with Donald Trump over tariffs. Why? Because he wants to win the next election based on fighting Donald Trump, this orange boogeyman from the U.S. He wants to run against Donald Trump, not Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, to whom he's still down 25 percentage points. He doesn't want to run against the Conservatives. He wants this to be about Justin Trudeau or his successor, which would obviously is going to be Mark Carney. He's going to be coronated to that job if it's not Justin Trudeau staying in that job. But they want to run against Donald Trump and to say it's Canada versus the U.S. And Canada, well, that means the Liberal Party. That's how they want this to be reflected. That's how they're framing this. And it's obvious to anybody who understands the mentality of the Liberal Party that's always been anti-American, at least for the past 60 years. It's been vociferously anti-U.S. It loves to talk about U.S. style this and that as being an evil thing. And since Donald Trump came on the political scene, the Liberal Party and the Liberal government has been even more adamant about its hatred for all things American, especially if all things American mean Donald Trump.
Well, we have reports that there are hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants trying to make it into the United States through Canada, in addition to which a massive number of individuals trying to surge through the southern border. So both the north and southern border in the United States still vulnerable now under the Trump administration, doing everything they can to try to lock it down. But it's a massive border. So it really is going to come down to Canada preventing these individuals from getting into the United States to begin with. And I've seen no movement. I mean, have you seen any movement on the Canadian side to try to fix that problem?
Well, the RCMP bought some drones, but they were the wrong drones. They were drones from China, which, of course, the Trump administration has already said are inadmissible. It's not. We can't use those. You can't use Chinese drones to protect your border security
from Chinese nationals coming across the border. I mean, Chinese nationals coming across the border, and we know Trudeau's cushy relationship with the Chinese government. So, what are we doing here?
Well, the RCMP is now buying some Black Hawk helicopters. They're making some basic moves towards some border security. But as I said, the money is not there. In fact, they've actually spent nothing so far because they prorogued the House of Commons before they could even vote on this fall economic statement. So no money has been spent, and very little is planned to be spent in the next year. Donald Trump can read the fine print. He knows this. But I'll tell you what's even more worrisome for me right now is that the Trudeau government announced yesterday they've already planned for their tariff welfare check. This would be the same thing that they introduced during the COVID pandemic, which was if you had to stay home, if your business was locked down, if you were affected economically by the COVID pandemic, well, the government had a special welfare check for you. Now they've got a special welfare check available that's coming if you're affected by the Trump tariff. They're already essentially acquiescing to the Trump tariff, saying, bring it on because it enables us to do some more inflationary spending, to introduce another bonus check to Canadians to buy their votes, and to say, hey, this is an opportunity for us to buy votes and to ingratiate ourselves with Canadians. The Trudeau government announced yesterday they've already planned for their tariff welfare check. This would be the same thing that they introduced during the COVID pandemic, which was if you had to stay home, if your business was locked down, if you were affected economically by the COVID pandemic, well, the government had a special welfare check for you. Now they've got a special welfare check available that's coming if you're affected by the Trump tariff. They're already essentially acquiescing to the Trump tariff, saying, bring it on because it enables us to do some more inflationary spending, to introduce another bonus check to Canadians to buy their votes, and to say, hey, this is an opportunity for us to buy votes and to ingratiate ourselves with Canadians. But here we go again. More inflationary spending at a time when the tariff will be in place. This is a double whammy here, Clayton. It's not just going to be the consequences of a tariff, it's going to be the consequences of more inflationary spending. We are on the precipice of economic disaster in Canada. The Trudeau government is all about staying in power. It's all about keeping the Liberal Party ascendant in Canada at whatever cost. And I've been saying for months they will use whatever trick, device that they need to do that. They've done that historically. They're doing it right now. And now they're saying, well, it's Donald Trump's fault. Don't blame us that the tariff is here, but here's some free money. And of course, it's never free. It's taxpayer funded money in your pocket. And here we go again.
Well, it's just like what the Biden administration did, got us into this terrible debt situation that we're in right now, where we're paying trillions of dollars now on just the interest payments alone. When you print fake money, those roosters come home to, what is it called? Those chickens come home to roost. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah. Actually, no, under the Biden administration, we killed all the chickens in the United States. So we don't even have any chickens anymore. And it's unbelievable. So you print basically a stimulus check for the Canadian people. Instead of fixing the problem, you're going to hand out fake money to the Canadian people right now and drive up your inflationary problem. How close are you guys to a recession up there?
We apparently drifted into a recession in December. That was not widely reported, but we are in a recession in Canada. There's no question about that. And more inflationary spending combined with the tariffs that could have been avoided could be economic catastrophe for this country. We could slide into a depression over this. But once again, for the Liberal government, for the Trudeau government, this is all about staying in power at whatever means and cost. It's unfortunate that any country would have to put up with such an amoral government that's fixated completely on power. But that's what Canadians are dealing with right now. And there's no easy way out of this, right? Because Trudeau has put the country in an almost impossible position. I don't know if this was an intentional move months back to make this battle with Donald Trump so paramount and to enable the Liberal government to win another election. And I'm not predicting they are going to win another election. I think there's a God in the universe. I do believe there's justice. And I don't think this is going to work. But in the meantime, it's going to cause tremendous economic dislocation for Canadian taxpayers, for Canadian workers, and it's all completely unnecessary. All Trudeau had to do was respond to Trump's demand to get the border in order. We saw what happened with Colombia this week. Colombia was being completely unreasonable about taking back its own criminal citizens who had illegally immigrated to the United States. They belong in Colombia. Colombia said, no, we're not taking them back. Trump said, hey, 25% tariff coming immediately, followed by another 25% tariff next week if you don't acquiesce, if you don't get on with the job here. Suddenly, Colombia realized, yeah, okay, let's be reasonable. Justin Trudeau could have been reasonable about this. Instead, what has he done? He's taunted Donald Trump about how he should not have been reelected because that Kamala Harris should have been elected. How Donald Trump is fixated on the border crisis like it doesn't matter.
He has talked about the border as being a great preoccupation for him.
How Donald Trump is fixated on populist politics like that doesn't matter. And once again, he's demonizing Donald Trump and in his face every day, every week, knowing that this is just going to cause more problems. And those are the problems that Justin Trudeau wants, because those problems serve Justin Trudeau's objective of keeping the Liberal Party in power. And it's a very sad state of affairs. We need an election as soon as possible. We need to bring this government down as soon as the House of Commons gets back into session.
Hallelujah. David Crayden, keeping them honest up there and eulogizing Canada. Canada heading for disaster unless this is remedied real soon here. Thank you so much, David. Great to see you as always.
Thank you so much, Clayton. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Don't listen to Justin Trudeau. We need this kind of attitude in Canada right now because let me tell you, Justin Trudeau will fight tooth and nail to stay as leader of the Liberal Party and as Prime Minister of Canada, and he will use every trick in the Liberal handbook to do that. So we have to be vigilant, and we have to have perseverance to fight this battle to the end. As I've been saying since this station went on the air, we need to resolve to resist. And we need to fight for our free speech and our democratic rights to say what we believe, to speak, as John Diefenbaker said. And don't forget that t-shirt that's available out there in the store. I speak as a free Canadian, free to speak, free to believe in what I choose. And Justin Trudeau is not going to interfere with that. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right resistance, and we'll see you again soon.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.